You're currently right now listening to the 56th episode of Fresh Floppies. Fresh Floppies.
Oh, we did it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation. You are tuning into Fresh Floppies.
Fresh Floppies.
1, 2, 3.
Fresh Floppies.
Damn it. We'll get it someday.
What's a fresh floppy?
Maybe on the 57th episode. Fresh Floppies. Fresh Floppy. Floppy is a one-issue. I'm just kidding. That's my tick now. Fresh Floppies. Fresh Floppies. Fresh Floppies.
Fresh Floppies.
Like Hodor. Yeah. All I say is Fresh Floppies. R.I.P.
Oh, that was so sad.
Yeah, he's dead.
No. What's a fresh floppy?
It is a single issue comic book, one chapter in an ongoing saga that is sequential storytelling.
Yeah.
So we call them floppies because they're magazine paper.
Yeah, they flop.
We don't know.
They'd be flopping.
We're a day later than we usually are because there were so many books.
Yeah.
And because we couldn't record, but there were so many books.
Yeah. And also, we'll be discussing these books without spoilers.
I'm gonna be as little spoiler as possible.
Destro number one, which is part of the Energon universe from Image Comics, spearheaded by Robert Kirkman, has been going on for the past year, and I have been delighted by every single issue. This is a new one by Dan Waters and Andrea Bresson with Andriano Lucas. This is hot on the heels of Cobra Commander miniseries, which is over. Duke miniseries, which is over. Scarlet, which came out last week. Mm-hmm. Now we're here.
Is Kirkman spearheading it?
I mean, I felt like probably. His was the first book to come out. His was the call that I was on, where he told us the secret.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just like he hasn't been a part of the creative. I wonder how that room has worked. Like, is it a writer's room and they're just like figuring out everything? Because there hasn't, other than if anything, Joshua Williamson has more.
Yeah, he's been writing more of the actual Energon.
Huh, I wonder how that works.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
So Destro, I've been enjoying the whole thing, and this is a brand new series. And we've met Destro before in the backs of the other series.
Yeah.
And this is dealing with Destro and the bats, the BATs, and basically he's doing some gun running as he's wont to do.
Battle Android Trooper.
That's right. And so, we're introduced to also Tomax and Zaymot, who I used to love when I was a kid.
They're my favorite.
They're fantastic. And, this is a little bit more, I would say this is a little bit denser of a book. But also it's more brutal, I think, than the other ones have been so far.
Very much. It is more brutal. I wouldn't say it's denser. It is wholly reliant on reading Cobra Commander.
Do you think?
I do think.
Why do you think?
Because Destro is a character, and his current state of play is contingent on that last issue of Cobra.
Huh. I feel like you could jump in on this if you just...
Sure, you can, and then get context clues, but I feel maximum enjoyment is reading Cobra Commander first, absolutely. Like, this is the first time of all 4 series that I felt like, oh, this is kind of a soft sequel, as opposed to the other ones being, Well, also, Duke was a soft sequel, but see that in context.
For sure.
He just had PTSD. That's all you needed to know. This, you need to know, at least I think, you need to know the parameters of their agreement and their partnership. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Good. I liked it.
Oh, you like that? That's a positive.
I don't like that always.
Oh, but the book is.
But this was good.
Okay, cool.
I'm good with this book. I liked it a lot.
I was really excited about I love the art on the cover.
Yeah.
I do feel like some of the art on the interior is a little strange. Some of the hair, some of the positions of the bodies and stuff.
Some of the face acting's a little... ish. But...
It's a little ish.
When this artist does violence, it's quite righteous.
Yes.
It's really, really well done. There was one splash page where a lot of people get murdered.
Yeah. I was like, oh, damn.
And there's a little bit of Aaron Cooter in there.
Oh, yeah, I thought the same thing.
So good.
Yeah.
This is a very well done book. And you know what, though? I am very much appreciating that all of these books, all of the G.I. Joe adjacent books, have a different visual style.
Yes.
And none of them are... All of them are bangers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though I had a couple of problems with the Cobra Commander book, I always enjoyed reading it. It was a very, very pretty book to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Scarlet, even though you had a couple of dings on some of the pacing. Some of the staging.
Yes, the staging. Yeah.
But yeah, this is another strong. It's another strong Energon universe book.
And I just like all the rest of them, I read this book with that deep baritone from the cartoon.
I like in the movies that they made him, or in the movie that he was in, they made him really thick Scottish.
Yeah.
Because he is.
Because he is, yeah. It was always strange. Like, he's always been a Scottish character, and they just didn't do that in the cartoon for some reason.
So, look, I know I'm reading comics.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I know I'm reading comics based off toys.
Yes.
No one says shit about him having a liquid metal face, ever. It's not even a story point. It's just...
There is never a point where Destro is either on screen or in a comic book talking that I don't go... How does that work?
It's like the same thing with I think
Steel.
Back in the day. No, Steel's ridiculous no matter what, so it doesn't matter. No, Steel did his own like liquid metal shit. So like they at least
not in the beginning.
No, not in the beginning.
He had
sure,
a metal mask,
but they gave
moved.
it something eventually.
Yeah.
Like right, and then same with Iron Man. Mm-hmm. Like he used to have straight up musculature and just bent his arms and knees, and we don't talk about it.
It was his shiny muscles.
Yeah. This is even harder for me. So like I also still have trouble. We're gonna talk about it later, but I also still have trouble with the goblin mask being fully articulate.
Yeah.
And this is just like he's talking with normal people.
Yeah.
And none of them are like
metal face.
You know what I would have loved. So they go to like there's like a auction / gun runner thing where it's just like a fancy affair.
It's like a bullet prom.
Give me bullet prom. Give me one side conversation of like. So we don't talk about his face?
That'd be amazing.
Just one of those.
Especially because there is a scene like that where someone's like whispering behind his back. Yeah. And that'd have been something to include. Like, does anyone else see that?
Just give me a touch of that, and I'm good forever.
How does that shit work, dog?
I'm good forever with like a simple little throwaway line.
Acknowledge
but to never acknowledge it, it's just like shiny dome.
Okay.
And he's
with
got
moving lips,
fully articulated eyebrows. Also. Big old bolts in his neck, like a choke collar that's nothing but steel girder. Like I just don't get it.
I love at the end here. Dan Waters has written a letter to the.
You read the letter?
I read the letter.
This is like the first time I skipped a letter because usually you don't read it.
I read it. And,
is it good?
And he ends it up with, this is love for Destro, basically.
Oh, nice.
And the last paragraph is, and he does it all dressed like a pro wrestling vampire. Oh, how I love this guy. Yeah, he's got the chest with the open chest, with the big medallion in the middle. Awesome. And speaking of the Energon universe, we actually have an email. We got letters.
We have letters?
Oh, we got lots and lots of letters. This one's from Christopher Goodnight. Oh, stop. First of all, let me say y'all were totally right about Cobra Commander's final issue.
Knew it.
After being far superior to Duke throughout its first 4 issues, it turned around and took a shot on the ending.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, a little bit.
We didn't say that at all.
I mean, he is more aggressively expressing the feelings I did have.
Well, you never thought that Cobra Commander was better than Duke.
No.
Duke
I'm
was,
just talking about like the last
end,
issue being...
That's not to say it wasn't a good story, just that it wasn't the ending of the Cobra Commander book. It definitely felt like the ending of the first issue of some other book. Now, I love Scarlet, even if the flashbacks were kind of weird. For parts of the book, she is flashing back to her and Redacted, moving in together, but then you switch to her new mission and you flash back to her being sent on it by Redacted. My one question is there an industry term when you draw a character in great detail, but because of the size, you leave the face empty?
Yeah, he did. He showed a screenshot. There's a couple of shots in the Scarlet book, especially the action shots, where in the far background you see her kind of moving in motion, and they just don't fill in the details of her face.
It's just an orb.
Happens all the time, but is there a term for it?
That I don't know. She looks like
lazy?
From Dick Tracy. No face.
But also, so I would think that it depends on the penciler. If the penciler is full digital, sure, maybe they can scrunch in and make some sort of motion on the face. But if it's pencils, like actual physical pencils, I would think that would be horrific and also wouldn't even register to go that finely detailed on such a small figure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you try to draw a face that small, people are going to be more concerned with like how weird the face looks. As opposed to this, it's just like, oh, okay, there's chiaroscuro. You can't quite see it. She's in the distance.
Correct. Say it again.
Chiaroscuro. That means that there is air and space and particles between you and the thing you're looking at, so it looks like it's in.
So that might be the terminology used. Like, you just don't bother with articulation on the face or detail on the face because of Carrera's.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere between you and a thing that makes that thing look lighter.
Hey, let's say that's the terminology.
Chiaroscuro.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. There you go.
Yep.
Boom.
Glad I could help.
I do agree with you. Like, I wasn't enjoying Cobra Commander more than I was enjoying Duke. However, that 5th issue was like a speed round of another book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you liked where we left them? We're gonna fast forward a year, give you a different setup in the 5th issue. It was. That's also what makes me say, like, Destro feels like a direct continuation, because that 5th issue was the whole setup of the Mars Corporation and Cobra being an alliance. So it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, most of the series was Cobra Commander tracking down Energon, and then it was like, oh, now he's set up, he's got Cobra, he's got minions, he's got a town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Yeah. Scarlet, I like it. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate it. Wonder Woman also came out this week by Tom King and Daniel Sampere. And I finally caught up on this. I thought I was farther behind than I was. I was only about an issue or 2 behind. Yeah. So I read those previous 2 issues and then jumped on this one. The previous 2 issues were fine. This one I really liked.
I liked them. I liked those previous 2 issues a lot. Because, I guess spoilers for old books. You left off the, one shot that you didn't like, where they go shopping.
Oh, right. Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, they go shopping for a gift.
Birthday present. Yeah.
And
it just felt like, why was it there?
It was just cutesy.
But it's like right in the middle.
Well, yeah,
of the series.
if they are gonna do that, as in like in between arcs, have a one shot that's just kind of like parallel, great. As long as you can keep Daniel Sampere on a monthly schedule.
Is that a different arc? This is the same arc.
No,
she's been fighting the Sovereign.
Yeah,
he's been torturing her and trying to break her.
In issue 6, she got captured. Issue 7 was a side story, and then issue 8 and 9 were her
being
detainment.
Tortured.
Yeah. And then we go. Yeah. So issue the first trade paperback is going to be 1 through 6.
Gotcha.
And then we'll see what else. I don't know. But yeah, that was an arc, and then that was a palate cleanser, and now we're back into her being captured, which is awesome. The last 2 issues I thought were wildly fascinating because. What's he called?
The Sovereign.
Sovereign?
Yeah.
The president, the king of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The Sovereign, each issue focused exclusively on one form of torture.
Yeah.
And it was always kind of internal or mental. So you get to see these wild scenarios inside her, how to break Wonder Woman, because they know they can't physically do it.
Yeah.
And I thought those were awesome. They were weird.
Yeah.
But I thought they were awesome. And then this is just a little bit more of the same.
Well, yeah, sure.
We zoom out.
Yeah. We're no longer in her head, which I like. I don't like spending too much time, too many issues, just doing the mental thing. Because I think one does it. I think you can have one, and that'll solve it.
The first one was
her being a 60s housewife, 50s housewife.
And that was an attack on her will.
Uh-huh.
The second one was what?
I don't know.
You just read it.
I did. It was her. Each page was a different scenario with her and Steve, and she's basically. I think she's being starved of contact. She's being hidden away, no contact whatsoever. So she has retreated into her own mind and hanging out with Steve in different arenas, different portions of their lives, I guess.
Oh, I love that.
And he was talking to her, but then he starts.
I'm in your head.
Trying to figure out like. If I'm not here, because at first I thought they were maybe somehow connected. Maybe they were torturing him and they had put them together mentally somehow through magic, maybe through the lasso of lies or something. Yeah. And turns out it's just like, no, I'm just a figment of your imagination because you're lonely. But what does that make me? I'm nothing. And she's like, well, you're not nothing. You're here helping me now, even though you're not here. You know. So it was interesting look at that and sort of maybe what people do to. Keep themselves sane while being starved of contact.
I can't remember the last time that we got from Wonder Woman's perspective her thoughts or feelings on Steve, though. At least in comics, because it's at least since New 52, it's been you were a side piece, go away.
Yeah.
Not a
love of my life.
Basically. Yeah. Which I think is. I mean, I kind of like that. I like that a lot. So the first one being like her mental will, the second one being how to break down her heart. how to break down her affection.
Yeah.
And then this is just, how do we break her?
Period. I could see people being upset that maybe this strong woman spends her entire time pining for this dude.
Well, they're reading the wrong book.
But this issue, she's left on an island for stuff to happen. And this one reminded me a little bit of the She-Hulk that's going on right now, because there is a big bad that she goes up against, and it comes down to a very sort of different conclusion than I was expecting, but makes total sense for Wonder Woman, who's the personification of love. Sometimes she's the personification of war. Some people, depends on the writer.
Yeah, I think that only really happened once.
And the personification of love. So I like how that wound up in this issue. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, no, I really like this too. This one, it continues the last arc, but in a fun way, or the last 2 issues, but in a fun way by zooming out. We get to see her supporting cast.
I love these kids.
At the end of 5 and 6, or in issue 5 and 6, we kind of bring in the Wonder Woman family: Cassie Sandsmark, Yara Flor, and Donna Troy.
Love them.
And we got to see how they react, or how they function with Wonder Woman. It's not like a mommy, it's just kind of together. They're compatriots, they're colleagues. Like, she doesn't treat them like, do what I told you. She's got her own little team, and the way that she, Diana is, she doesn't flaunt it like a team. It's like a flat structure. Just like, hey, we're all in this. I can't convince you otherwise, but let's roll. Yeah.
Sisters.
It was very good. It's a very good book. I like this a lot, and I think everybody should, even if you're not interested in Wonder Woman, pick up the first trade.
I'm not usually interested in Wonder Woman. This is great.
The first trade is really, really, like, and when's it come? I think it's coming out soon.
Sure.
Like next month, I think.
Okay.
We should push it.
Buy
it's
it.
Good.
I'm pushing it now. Get it.
Next book we're going to talk about is a book that you already mentioned, but
Yeah.
I'm current, and that's the Sensational She-Hulk, number 9, written by the glorious Rainbow Rowell with art by Andre Genolet. It was announced on Twitter that this book is being sent to the farm.
Yeah. The Rainbow Bridge.
To shot in the head.
Oh my god.
To be shot in the head in the fields.
Yeah.
After issue 10.
What a shame.
With no hyperbole, this is probably if not the one of the absolute best ongoing superhero books coming out of Marvel.
I love it.
Period.
Yeah.
Just period. It's been 25 issues of absolute magic. I love this book so much.
It's so charming. And I really like how Rainbow Rowell deals with, in the same way I just talked about Wonder Woman, deals with her, Jen, and her villains, quote unquote villains, and how they get together and they solve some of their conflict.
Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves in just narrative fiction in general, and something that mentioned earlier, Kirkman is very constantly guilty of, is when you could sum up the entire conflict between characters and dissolve it with 4 to 5 words. Like when you have almost a completely manufactured conflict of like, well, I won't tell him that because he shouldn't know.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like it's a very inorganic way of keeping your characters apart.
Yes. And
it feels inorganic. With a book like She-Hulk and a writer like Rainbow Rowell, they take the extra step of, well, that's just silly to not say something. I'm gonna have them say something and see what happens.
What if they express themselves?
Yeah. What if they said this, or what if this happened? And that is so much more interesting than the constant cycle of
boom pow,
punch punch. We're on the same team. No, we're not. Punch punch. We're on the same team. No, we're not. Like it's dare I say, emotionally mature. And it's very, very joyful to read. I love this book. This is as good, if not slightly better, than her Runaways run.
See, I didn't get a chance to read her Runaways. I really wish I could. I think most of them are out of print right now, the trade paperbacks. So maybe they'll do an epic collection of something, at which point I'll pick it up. Because I like Rainbow Rowell a lot.
Yeah,
after this book.
Whatever they're doing next in comics, I'm so fucking down. This is A+, fresh AF, the best book on the stands, and I frankly feel bad for anybody not reading it.
Yeah, I'm excited to catch up on it. I tried it for last night, and I just couldn't get caught up in time. I actively get excited about this.
Collectively, it's going to be 5 glorious trades all seamless and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another book that I wanted to talk about really, really quick is the sequel to the smash science fiction hit, Joy Operations, written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Stephen Byrne of Wonder Twins, which was so incredibly good.
Mark Russell.
Yeah. This is the sequel to Joy Operations. I think it came out in late 2022, and then it took about a year off. And this is a direct continuation. I appreciate how Bendis is releasing these miniseries of his where basically it's like the old school Dark Horse / Hellboy model of miniseries. We take time, miniseries, we take time, and then not even soliciting them until they're done, if not almost done.
Yes.
I love that.
The one thing I like about this better than that is that this is called Joy Operations 2.
Oh, I mean, we don't need to litigate the BPRD's numbering because there is none. It's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
but
fine.
I'm saying this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
but I like that too. Just do you can do little minis.
This is accessible on its own, but it very much is a direct continuation. I know you didn't read Joy Operations.
I read the first issue.
It's far future. The entire world is owned or run by corporations, and each corporation has a trust / country or continent, and you have envoys. Envoys are like the head of security of each of these corporations. Joy Corrigan is the envoy, the main envoy for the Janata Corporation. In the first series, she finds out that there's something really not great with her corporation, and she has to uproot her entire family.
This sounds, just hearing you talk about it, sounds a lot like Lazarus. Instead of corporations, it's like mob families, and then they have their one particular person, and then that one particular person is like, I'm finding out something about my family that I may not be down with.
That one's a little bit more mystical, though, with the way that they're like the one person is blah blah blah.
Yeah, I just mean like from a bird's eye view.
Sure.
It's kind of similar.
Yeah, corporations versus crime families. Yeah. This one is much more far future-y, though, too.
For sure.
Yeah, with the tech and stuff. But yeah, totally. There was something that happens in the very first issue of the first miniseries that I don't necessarily want to spoil because I don't think many people have read this. But there is a narrative device, plot point used that I don't think would be possible in any other medium other than comics, which is really cool. And I can't remember I can't remember another story that it's been used.
Oh, okay.
So
intriguing.
I would definitely say this is a fun miniseries. I enjoy it. It's sometimes on the nose, mostly inventive, pretty fucking woke, which is not a deterrent. But yeah, no, I feel almost bad, but then I don't because he's a wildly successful gajillionaire.
Yeah, I'm sure he's all right.
Bendis is still doing really fun work, but it doesn't have the same kind of like broad appeal and or moves the seas like Hickman does now or something like that. Like I feel like a lot of people have soured on him unceremoniously, and I think unfairly too, because Joy Operations is really wonderful. Masterpiece is really, really fun. The Ones was hilarious. I really like Pearl. I think Cover was great. Like, he is still banging out these really, really fun books that no one's talking about because it's just not cape shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, this is fun. If you read the first miniseries, definitely get Joy Operations 2. If you didn't read it and anything that I said that wasn't spoilery sounds appealing, you should definitely give that first trade a shot.
Right on.
Yeah.
So I read Disney's Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime, the story of the century, because of money. This is number 1, but this is a one-shot, I believe, by Jason Aaron. It is 3 chapters and an epilogue by Paolo Matora, Francesco Dipolito, Alessandro Pastrovicchio, and Giada Perisinato.
A lot of Italians.
Holy cats. And so it starts off with a letter, Why I Love This Duck, by Jason Aaron. And so he just, I guess didn't really care about the duck family, the ducks, until he started reading it to his kid. And he just wound up reading his kid this one Scrooge McDuck series or story and was immediately in love with it. And so he's like, I'm gonna write a Scrooge McDuck story. So this is what he does, and it is in two parts. There is a story that Jason Aaron has written, but then, because of what the basis of the story is, you get a reprint of the original appearance of Scrooge McDuck called Christmas on Bear Mountain, which is the pivotal moment that changed Scrooge McDuck in the story you just read. So basically, Scrooge McDuck was up in his house being Scroogey, and then he gets visited by Donald Duck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and because of their visit, he becomes a completely different dude. He becomes the adventurer that we all know and love from the cartoons and the comic books and stuff. So instead, what happens is it's a multiverse story where Jason Aaron has it so in a different reality, that never happens. The family can't get up to there because there's a snowstorm and they never wind up going up, which doesn't change Scrooge. And he becomes miserly and awful and the worst. And then he decides he's going to go to all the other Scrooge McDucks and steal their... Oh, I should mention he has a dime. The very first dime he ever made, like...
I think that's part of his lore.
Shining shoes or whatever it was.
He keeps that dime. The Dan Rosa collection I have actually has a replica of the dime in it.
Yeah.
Like it's an important dime.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically the number one dime it's called. And so, so he goes through the multiverse trying to steal the dimes from all the other McDucks, Scrooges. And it's just, if you like Scrooge McDuck and if you like the DuckTales and all that sort of stuff, this is probably up your alley. I think Len would probably be hot into this because he loves him some Scrooge McDuck and DuckTales and all that sort of stuff. So, Len, if you're listening, read this. And mine has a very cool cover by Alex Ross. You have a cover by Scotty Young.
Yeah, I'm actually debating which one I want, the Scotty Young cover, or I think that's Gabriel Delodo, or is that Elizabeth Torque? Either
That's
way,
Torque.
It's really pretty.
It's Torkin.
It's Torque.
It's
Torquish.
Twerking.
Twerk.
Were you ever an Uncle Scrooge fan?
Periodically, here and there.
Get it?
No. Let's say no. I own a couple of the ones that everyone says you must read if you love comics at all. I just haven't read them yet.
Okay.
Yeah, The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. That's the Dan Rosa stuff.
I'll tell you what I loved. You couldn't hear it, but I cursed this there real silently. The DuckTales video game for Nintendo.
It feels off.
Where you're Scrooge McDuck and you've got his cane and he bounces on his cane to break bricks and stuff. And I got what's it called, an emulator, and I was able to play it a couple years ago, and I finished it. It is such a delightful game.
I love DuckTales and the Secret of the Lost Lamp, the DuckTales movie. Do you remember the DuckTales? How dare I'm?
This is DuckTales movie?
I'm almost mad. I'm almost mad. What?
I'm sorry to have disappointed you.
What?
Our friendship is over.
They get a lamp. There's a whole genie movie with the DuckTales.
What?
And it's absolutely phenomenal.
Have you watched the reboot?
A couple episodes of it. It's adorable.
Yeah.
I heard it's
people
the
loved
bee's
it.
knees. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't watch cartoons anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe I'll put it on in the shop.
Woo.
Woo. So yeah, if you're into Uncle Scrooge, grab Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime by Jason Aaron.
Hey, we're gonna get in the Spidey corner, but which Spidey corner? Which facet of the Spider-Man corner would you like to go to first?
The internet's gonna fucking hate me.
Let's go.
So I gotta go with Amazing Spider-Man 52. This book is so bonkers, stupid,
Legacy
and
946.
Fun. I love this book, especially right now. Like, there's been peaks and valleys. There's been some, deep valleys, I think, with Miss Marvel, which you don't agree with, which is fine. But this stuff with the Spider Goblin and art by Ed McGuinness, and that they bring Ms. Marvel back into the fold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't disagree with you. It just doesn't bother me.
And it's got Chasm going up against Peter. It's got Rick Rap. This book is so dumb, and I giggled several times. I was like, I love this.
I absolutely love this comic. I instead of arguing with people about why I love, because every single time I say I kind of love this. I kind of love this. I'm having a good time. Excuse me, I don't want to start a fight. but can you tell me exactly what you enjoy about this?
I would like a 5-point presentation.
And I often will like engage and be like, oh, I actually really enjoy this arc, and I'm really enjoying the art by this one and this one and I like what we did with Peter here. I, as clearly as I can, say why I subjectively am enjoying this book, and well, it's all just bad writing. Like, okay,
cool. They don't get Peter. All right, fine.
Yeah,
cool. They hate Mary Jane. They want Peter to be miserable. I mean, it's called the Parker luck, but okay, that's fine.
I don't. I'm no longer going to engage with it in so much as like I'm having a blast. This is fun.
Yeah.
I don't think that any of these characters in any of the superhero books that you are reading at all have endings.
Yeah.
So chill the fuck out.
Yep.
And just enjoy the ride. When you're no longer enjoying the ride, go wait another line.
Yeah.
Like, just don't ride it anymore.
Go read Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah. And you know what? You know what else is an option? You can here's the thing you could do. If you don't like this book, you can go read Ultimate Spider-Man. Step 1.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2. Stop comparing it to Amazing Spider-Man. Stop being like, see, this is what Amazing Spider-Man should. You could just enjoy one thing without shitting on another thing.
Oh,
that's an option.
That's complex thinking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, like
I lost him halfway through.
The idea, like, there's 2 steps to this process. Stop bitching about what you like and evangelize, or stop bitching about what you hate and evangelize what you like.
Yes.
Talk about what you like. The second part of that is talk about what you like without shitting on something else. Yes. Just talk about what you like.
Because the rest will take care of itself.
Basically.
Like, you shitting on something isn't going to make someone not enjoy it.
Here, we're going to play act. I'm going to tell you that I enjoy Amazing Spider-Man. You ask me how I enjoy something I don't, right?
Hey,
no. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Hey, JD, I'm really enjoying Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's a fun book.
Oh, what do you think of another book you don't like?
It's not really for me, but I know a lot of people like it.
I hate that.
End scene.
It makes me angry.
Yeah. Oh, well, why do you spend so much time with it?
I'm going to send you death threats.
That turned out. That turned out
what did you think of Amazing Spider-Man? You loved it too.
Oh, yeah, no, this book is great. I think Ed McGuinness is doing amazing art. I do like that. So, Zeb Wells has been doing this. He's been on this book for 52 issues. Wow. And he has been doing this thing where my expectations are we're dealing with this topic. And he will weave in other arcs or other plot points in other arcs in order to kind of like wrap them together. So all of this stuff with Spidey Goblin was seeded in Patrick Gleason and the Goblin Queen Craven arc.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with Ben, had nothing to do with Kamala, had nothing to do with anything else, or Tombstone. We're seeing this arc is the like end game for that storyline, but he's seamlessly weaving in other pieces of those other arcs in order to make it all kind of still feel organically a part of the whole. You've got Kamala, which we had established was an employee at Oscorp forever ago and was there to kind of keep an eye on it, and then you have her on the side figuring stuff out, like
drawn by a different artist, drawn by Todd Nauck.
Yeah.
Which is good,
it's good knock.
Yeah, it's good knocking. We talk about artists when they'll switch.
No knock.
Team, no knocking on knock. And this actually works really well.
Yeah.
The switch between McGuinness and Nauck.
And then in the background too, we also have the living brain subplot that's been going on since the 5th issue of this book.
Yeah.
Like, people calling this lazy writing. I'm having trouble with understanding how they define lazy writing, because good writing is structured writing that keeps revisiting themes that are seated at certain points, foreshadowing, background, pacing. Like, this is not, I'm sorry, objectively, this is not bad writing. Yeah. They may not enjoy the voices or the actual dialogue that people say, but no, this is not bad writing. This is 52 tightly scripted issues about all of and all of these pieces keep falling into place correctly. This is not structurally, this is an incredibly well done comic book. I understand why he got the job to do one of the biggest books at Marvel, and I fear the life of whoever takes over after Zeb Wells, who they did announce at the beginning of, it's going to end this year. I guess the beginning of the final arc is issue 58.
Sure.
something like that. So I assume it's going to be like 65 issues. Yeah. And then, because this is a twice monthly book too. They are required to write so far in advance. So anybody that thinks like, oh, they're doing this to piss us off, or they made this change because we were complaining. No. This book is like 6 months in advance.
I do want to push back on this isn't bad writing. You can think it's bad writing. You can't think it's lazy writing.
That's fair. Structurally, I think it's great writing. You cannot like what the characters decide to do.
But it's not for a lack of effort.
You can dislike what the characters decide to do in context. You don't have to like what they're saying, but it is not bad writing. Right. It's not.
Also, you were talking about all these things he pulls in. He also pulls in something from a previous run that
Beyond.
I never thought I would see again. And I was like, and that's how they sort of fixed the problem. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, and
I giggled.
The beat right after it too is just damn
it. His Ben Reilly as Chasm made me laugh twice in this book.
Wait, how? They ruined Ben Reilly. How is that possible?
And I love when people are like, "You're not a Ben Reilly fan, mother lover." I have him tattooed on my arm.
And that's a recent tattoo.
Yeah,
as in
right. It's not
after
like I got it in the 90s.
Post Chasm.
Yeah,
You got that.
All right, so that was very good. Also, Ultimate Spider-Man #6.
The Return of Marco Cicchetto
cover. Oh. You're jealous.
No, I like my main covers. I'm a main cover kind of guy these days.
Jonathan Hickman, Marco Cicchetto is back on art. And,
I really miss that other guy. Meyer, what was his name?
Shut up. And this was also very good. They take on Peter and his new bestie Harry, the Green Gobbo, take on Kingpin. To disastrous results.
I got 1.5 gripes.
Okay, give me the half a gripe first.
The half gripe of I don't understand the tattoo tech, which we've seen in a couple other books.
Me neither.
So I'm okay with it being a mystery.
Yeah.
But the way it's presented here, it's a full reveal, and I'm like,
don't get it.
I don't know what those do yet. So
yeah,
it's
not much of a reveal.
Because I'm also reading the other books, so they have not explained the tattoo tech.
Yeah.
So it's good, but also half a gripe. It's okay.
If I knew what it was and he showed it, I'd be like, oh, cool, wow, he's got the thing.
In the context,
I don't know what that thing is.
if it was the very last page, I would be pissed because I'm like, that's a reveal that means nothing to me. But in the context of like them fighting and he pulls it off and everyone's scared, like, oh no, obviously that's a thing. That's fine. The full gripe I have is there's a very important conversation that happens in this book.
Yes. And
it happens off page in the middle of a flashback story, and then we come back in, hard cut back in, media res, and everyone's like, oh, so you did that. Like, oh. So I'm trying to do this without spoilers.
With not as much concern as they might have, or questions?
As the reader, we're shown now, and then it cuts to, with no in-character setup, like verbal setup, it cuts to the night before. So like that is just like a normal comic book paradigm of we're about to see what's going to happen. Yeah. But then we cut back to now, and you were straight up telling them all this?
I see.
Like it was just very jarring of like, I was shocked we went from 0 to 60 of like, hey, no, it's no big deal, to I'm going to tell you every single fucking detail about
see, I didn't get that at all, because the setup before it is, how exactly did you get that black eye? And then a smash cut to fix building last night. So I assumed he's telling them what happened to her, how he got a black eye.
To me, I assumed we're the reader, we're just going to see it, not I'm going to answer your questions with full
disclosure.
Yeah. Like that wasn't established so much as like, because they do that all the time where it's just like, how did you get here? And then we get to see what happened.
And then he's like, I fell down some stairs.
You usually don't. Yeah, I was going to say, like, you usually don't cut back to the opening, like back to that scene and everybody being like, that is such an interesting story. You just told me in full detail.
That's funny.
About this drama.
Oh, okay.
Like that was just it was a weird beat for me. Yeah. However, I'm very happy with how it ended.
Oh, you know what they could have done?
Very happy with how it ended.
Very easy way to fix that is, how did you get that black eye? And instead of going the fixed building last night, he could have had, and then the fifth building last night.
Sure, something like that. Yeah. Either way, it's just
the dialogue on top of the flashback.
I feel like it's close to spoilers now. We have spent 5 issues with him uncertain about this conversation, and then it just kind of happens off page.
I see.
It was kind of a weird. Yeah. It's a weird Hickman choice. I'm ultimately totally cool with it. Yeah. Ultimately, but it just at the end of the book, it struck me a little like, oh, well, we're skipping that.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I also too. I don't know if I would tell my 4-year-old and like 9-year-old those details, and we're just meant to believe like they got all those details, which is a little weird. I'm like, Peter, censor yourself. These are your fucking children.
You drop a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah,
telling that story. Weird.
I was just like, maybe don't every single time you got punched in the face. Maybe don't do that. Just I got hit,
and then my blood sprayed out of my cheek.
Yeah, like come on, bro.
Onto the desk.
Yeah, like we were totally done for.
Otherwise, I mean, that's also Hickman's vibe right now, because each issue jumps a month.
Yeah,
you're missing a lot of days in between.
It still totally works, but I mean, yes, but this is insane. It's insane.
I'm gonna be honest.
That's
I'm
a gripe and a
enjoying
half.
ASM more than Ultimate.
Right now, I mean, the vibes are totally different, man.
Very different.
So this
doesn't make me giggle though. Like Amazing Spider-Man, I go.
Amazing Spider-Man is very much, like, old school '60s. Dumb. Yeah. With modern storytelling techniques kind of put on top of it.
Yeah.
Ultimate Spider-Man is its own damn thing.
Yeah.
Very like, I mean, it's a Hickman thing, so like he has a very specific goal. Yeah. He'll give you character beats in between that, but my goal is that way, and I'm just going to keep going. Like you can come with me if you want, but I don't care. This is the goal. So like, yeah, like that in that kind of version of it, the emotionality kind of bleeds through. With Amazing Spider-Man, leads with the high drama emotionality, big laughs kind of thing of it all. Yeah, because even Hickman writes Spider-Man very well. Like he's quippy, he's fun, but that's a side feature. That's not
it's
like
more a serious book, I think.
Very much, ASM. Yeah. Which I mean, a lot of people online really want.
Great, good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
I like both of them. As a Spidey fan, I'm eating. I'm chowing down, bro.
I mean, I feel like you have to pick one. Which one are you going to take out back and shoot in the face to bring it back?
Spider Boy. I'm gonna murder that little redhead.
I'm gonna line Spider Boy and Superior Spider-Man together, and hopefully with one bullet, just get rid of both. Yeah. That's not, they're just I don't like those books.
I just don't read them. I don't even dislike them. I just don't care.
So I think that was a really, really big chunk of books, and we talked about all of them.
What are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to, first of all, I'm looking forward to reading Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime. I want to read that a lot. Helena Windhorn, I can't wait.
Hell yeah. Tom King.
But that's not a quick read. I'm going to sit down with a snifter of
brandy.
With a snifter of brandy at the fireplace and just slowly read in multiple voices.
I was talking with someone on Twitter.
You don't have friends.
About, I didn't say it was a friend.
Oh, just a rando. I was talking with a rando that I look for guidance from, as well as a comment, or what was the word?
He was looking
validation.
I said Wonder Woman's so good. I had posted a panel of it, and he's like, "Oh, there's too many words," and I was like, "Yeah, I get it." But also, that's the character, that's the sovereign. But that's the same way as I don't blow through Wonder Woman. I got to sit down and sit in it. Same thing with Helena Windhorn. Like, I know I'm sitting down to read like a good half hour.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
It depends on the writer. Right now, these are good things. If there's another writer out there doing it and I'm bored by it, that's a bad thing. It's just my subjective reaction to what's being told.
And these things, especially with Tom King, these things were exclusively things I had problem with before. Like, I hated when he was doing it in Heroes in Crisis.
Same.
Because that was like 3 issues too long, and Lothar was telling a poem while we're seeing something completely unrelated.
Hated that issue so much.
Oh, man. But in Supergirl, it was masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like reading the journal entries of a other person that's part of the story. Like, it's not It's not immediately a trope I love, but when you do it right, man, it hits hard. Hard! All right, let's wrap up.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah, we will talk at you later. Do-do-do.
Never see me in the crowd. No matter who you are, you can't forget a face you know.
Thank you for listening to the CultPop Network, home to podcasts, live shows, and a whole lot of fun stuff for every flavor of fan. Follow us wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday night at youtube.com/CultPopGo at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll know when we drop new Thunder Rounds and episodes of Fresh Floppies, a spoiler-free show about single-issue comics released each week. Until then, we'll talk at you later.